Well, g'day guys, how's it going? It's Paul here. Week 10. Can you believe it? Week 10. It's been great spending the term with you as we've been looking through Genesis, and I hope you found it really helpful. Well, week 10, let's get into it. Genesis 46 to 50. Alright, well, throughout history, people have looked for a hero. This is the introduction question. A saviour for their world. Not necessarily the world as a whole, but maybe their country or their group of people. Someone who people put their hope in to save them from the present problems that they're facing. The question asks, can you think of some of these people both now and in the past? How successful have they been at fulfilling this saviour role, the hero role? People in the past, JFK, Martin Luther King perhaps, Jr., Barack Obama is a current one. Maybe you could think of some more other people that maybe from the 60s when the big sexual revolution, or maybe today with music people. Lots of different options that you might be able to think of for that, just to get people thinking about heroes and saviours, that sort of thing. Okay, then we're going to flip back to chapter 12 and read 1 to 7, and what were the promises God made to Abraham. Have a squiz at that together. Be reminded what God promised Abraham, the land, the nation, the great name, blessing to others through Abraham. We're doing a sort of summary today as we look at the end of the chapter, a summary of the promises, where they're up to, and how God has worked so far. Question 2. As you read through the following passages, take note about where the promises to Abraham have been partially fulfilled and where they remain to be fulfilled. So basically, I've got a bit of a table there. You might like to print it out separately and give it to your group. They might like to fill it out together. You might like to read through together. I think it'd probably be pretty helpful to read through out loud every one of those passages. They're not too big, so that will be okay. And then maybe give them 5 minutes afterwards to fill out the graph. So first, what parts of the promises have been partially fulfilled in each section, and what are yet to be fulfilled in this section. Some won't be fulfilled at all. Some will be just yet to be fulfilled. But I think people will find that quite helpful to see the way that God's promises are actually, they've come quite a long way to being fulfilled. And then we're going to ask a reflection question about how would you sum up the lives of Jacob and Joseph, who we've been looking at for the last few weeks. Just a thought about what sort of character these guys are, what they're like, how they've changed, especially Jacob, quite a difference in the way he started off life and how he finished his life, how they related to God and each other, to God's people. Spend a few minutes just thinking about that. And basically the key part of what we're doing today is going to the New Testament. So we're going to read Hebrews chapter 11, and we've got lots of verses there. And the question 4 asks, how do these verses sum up the situation for Jacob and Joseph and for the people of God as we come to the end of Genesis? So those verses reflect on that, the idea that it's these guys lived by faith in the promises of God, but they weren't yet fulfilled. They looked forward to the heavenly country of their own. It was a complete fulfillment of the promises of God once they arrived in heaven. And it's all about the heavenly city that God has prepared for His people. So that's question 4. As you look at those verses from Hebrews, and as the writer of Hebrews reflects on that. Question 5. There were lots of impressive men of God throughout Genesis, but none who completely fulfilled the promises of Genesis 12. The ultimate hero for the people of God was still to come. Read the following passages and jot down how and what Jesus has done that makes him the true hero. Guys, what I'm trying to do here is help us as readers of the Bible to keep coming back to Jesus. You may have done that a few times in the past few weeks, but I just really want to spend some good time thinking about how Jesus is the fulfillment of this. We've been touching on that each week, but yeah, it'd be good to do this a little further. So read Acts 2, 29 to 39, Philippians 2, 6 to 11, and just reflect on those, what Jesus has done that makes him that true hero, the true hero of the Bible, of God's people. You might have some other verses that you'd like to use there as well, which reflect on what Christ has done for his people. Okay, question 6, how does knowing that Christ is the ultimate fulfillment of the promises of God affect you and the way you think and the way you act? So giving people a chance to think, yeah, I know that Jesus fulfilled these promises, but how does that affect me? How does it affect my life? How does it affect the way I think? How the way I feel about things, especially about hardship that we've seen throughout the last few weeks, and about struggles and going through those sorts of difficult times. How does knowing that Christ has fulfilled the promises impact me? How does it impact my long-term vision for heaven? And the question 7 is, how does this knowledge affect your future plans and concerns? Which is, I think, a helpful thing to do, to think about, yeah, actually, what Jesus has done should impact my plans and my concerns, my worries, those things that I worry about, whether I should or not, because of what Christ has done. Question 8, share one thing that's impacted you through your time in Genesis, our time in Genesis. Pray about those things for each other. You might want one person to share, and then the person next to them to pray for them about what they've been impacted by, and pray that God will continue to help them grow and mature in this area of learning that they've found helpful throughout Genesis. Well, my review's not that long this week because a lot of it's filling out the graph, but also wanting to you guys spend more time with just sharing together, praying together. So spend some good time doing that. Can I encourage you just to remind you that we really want to help guys grow personally in their lives. So keep working hard at application and making sure you've got time for that. Okay, lastly, my tip of the week. Hopefully it's a helpful tip at this time of term. The tip is get people to put their names down on the supper roster for next term, or the list of dates for next term tonight, or whenever your study is on. Helps people have ownership of their group. If everyone has an opportunity to bring something for supper, give them a bit of a guideline as well, just so they're not floundering around about what to bring on, and then they bring not enough or too much. So yeah, send that round tonight, because when they come back, that'll be a great start to the term. And just remember, either put someone reliable down for week 1, or make sure you shoot off an email to the person on the first week, or give them a call, so they don't forget that term 3, week 1, to bring supper. That also means that you won't spend the first 4 weeks of term wishing that you'd done a supper roster already, which you've probably done before, as you scrounge around in the back of the cupboard looking for a stray pack of Tim Tams or something. It's a good idea to get that done now, and just takes the stress out of some of the planning for next term. Alright guys, it's been a great term with you, loved it. Genesis has been awesome. I hope you've really enjoyed it and found the videos and studies helpful. Love your feedback, so if you've got feedback for us, for me and for Graham, that'd be awesome. Yeah, God bless, and see you next term. Alright, catch up.